I'm not a fan of survival horror games in general, let me just put that out there. With that being said, however, I enjoyed the first Evil Within, though it could have been much better in many regards. It felt like the developers at Tango Gameworks had barely scratched the surface of what the world of the Evil Within was capable of. Now, with the Evil Within 2, I firmly believe Tango Gameworks have hit their stride and released not just a great survival horror game, but one of the best games I've ever had the pleasure of playing. The Evil Within 2 is now one of my favorite games of all time, and this is why. The story picks up 3 years after the horrifying events at Beacon Mental Hospital in the first game. Our protagonist, Sebastian Castellanos, has been driven to drink because of his experiences within the STEM system at Beacon and his discharge from the Crimson City Police Department. He also mourns the loss of his wife Myra and daughter Lily, who was believed to have perished in a deadly house fire. He is eventually greeted by his former partner Julie Kidman, an agent working on behalf of the organization known as Mobius. As it so happens, Sebastian's daughter Lily is alive and well and being held captive by Mobius as part of a new STEM experiment. Mobius gives Sebastian the opportunity to rescue Lily from the horrors that lie in wait within STEM. And so the story begins. The story of The Evil Within 2 is markedly better than the story of the first game, where the pieces didn't start to fall into place until the final chapters. This story is far more coherent and straightforward than the previous tale, while also managing to be surprisingly emotional at times, something I wouldn't have expected from a game with heavy horror elements. If you didn't play the first Evil Within, you don't need to worry about knowing what happened previously, as the game provides plenty of backstory to catch you up to speed, although if you have played through the first game, your experience with the story will be enriched even further. Sebastian is a more well-rounded character this time around as well. His gruff voice and persona still remains, but he is shown as a far more sympathetic character who struggles with his guilt and his inner demons, making for a very interesting character arc to watch as the story progresses. Kidman is also a standout character in the story, providing Sebastian some console during his time in the STEM system, and she manages to make a surprising turn as a character towards the end of the game. The villains of the game are also memorable in their own way, such as the photographic serial killer Stefano or the mad priest Father Theodore. The supporting characters you encounter while in STEM also have important roles to play and help to further flesh out the story. The horror elements are also handled with care, as The Evil Within 2 drips atmosphere, and the creatures you encounter are spine-chilling, to put it lightly. Honestly, the story of this game shocked me with its quality, and it's easily one of the best aspects of The Evil Within 2, in my opinion. Continuing the tradition from the first Evil Within, the name of the game is about survival, and only entering combat when you're backed up against a wall, not literally though. Sebastian doesn't have a lot of health or stamina, so stealth is very important, even more here than in the first game. Movement doesn't feel as clunky here as it did previously, and the environments are less linear, so stealth is a more viable option in The Evil Within 2. Although if you do find yourself in direct combat, you do have access to a collection of standard firearms that grows larger as you progress through the story chapters. Pistols, shotguns, a sniper rifle, crossbow, and so forth. The gunplay has been tightened up and feels much smoother in The Evil Within 2. Firing a gun and getting a headshot on your enemies never gets old, with the audio providing a satisfying pop. Speaking of enemies, they hit hard, and the bosses you encounter hit even harder. Especially on the higher difficulties, The Evil Within 2 has no shortage of challenges and obstacles for the player to overcome. You also have a skill system similar to the first game, where killing enemies grants green gel, the currency used to upgrade your abilities and allows Sebastian to become more formidable but not invincible. There is also an extensive crafting and upgrade system for your weapons, which gives the player even more freedom to tackle the game in the way they want. That's really the most important gameplay addition in The Evil Within 2, freedom. Unlike the first game, where you moved through linear levels, in this iteration, you are given more freedom in the moment-to-moment gameplay, and it makes for a richer and more exhilarating game to play. Another large change compared to the first game is the addition of a large quasi-open world to explore in the form of Union, a small American town used as ground zero for the STEM experiment by Mobius. While it might have appeared to be an idyllic little hamlet once, now it is a fragmented landscape with big chunks of the town floating in the sky as the STEM simulation slowly collapses. Union may seem like a very generic area to explore, but in reality the gameplay and horror elements make it far more interesting. You're never quite sure what could be around the next corner, or down the next alleyway, or in the next building for that matter. It's also more consistent in tone than the first Evil Within, where the first game felt like a greatest hits selection of survival horror scenarios and areas. The Evil Within 2 strives for a cohesive world to traverse, and it succeeds in many ways. While exploring Union, it is important to scavenge for supplies like ammo and crafting materials, or even some nifty collectibles from the extended Bethesda family. Exploration is almost a necessity, and it encourages the player to look through places they might not have seen had they just carried on with the main quest. You find secrets and optional objectives through a communicator device that marks points of interest, allowing you to find the aforementioned tools for survival. Speaking of which, there are also side quests to partake in as well, opening up even more secret areas to explore, such as the Marrow, a network of tunnels built underneath Union that allowed Mobius to monitor the population as part of their sadistic experiments. While traversing the Marrow, you can find even more supplies, and sometimes even more firepower for your arsenal. It's just refreshing to see a survival horror title go the open world route and succeed in so many ways. Running on a modified version of id Tech 5, deemed the STEM engine by Tango Gameworks, The Evil Within 2 looks fantastic and runs fairly well on PC to boot. The lighting and atmosphere is top-notch, and the character models are suitably detailed, especially the disgustingly grotesque foes you encounter throughout Union. The portions of the game centering on the villains Stefano and Theodore are the most visually striking. A large camera lens hovers in the sky with protruding tentacles that strike the ground every so often, showing that Stefano means business. Theodore exudes hellfire and hides in a flaming tower that hangs over the town of Union like a dark cloud. These were the most visually striking portions of the game for me personally. There are other sections that stand out, but I will avoid giving out specifics for the sake of spoilers, and also because you really have to see them for yourself to admire their beauty and splendor. In summation, The Evil Within 2 is hands down the biggest surprise of 2017 for me. I liked the first Evil Within, but I didn't necessarily love it. The Evil Within 2, however, provided a terrifying and entertaining story, sublime gameplay, and open world exploration, and it really creeped me out. I love The Evil Within 2, and hopefully this video has shown you just a few of the reasons why I love this game, and I also hope that you try it out for yourself. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to leave some comments down below, letting me know what you think of The Evil Within 2, and remember that the outsider walks among us.
Sebastian, what are you doing here?
I'm in the middle of some serious shit right now, O'Neill. I could use some help out there.
No way.
Are you kidding? Do you know how long it took me to come back here to talk to you about this?
You could have just called, you know?
Are you coming with me or not?
I told you I wasn't going to leave this place. It's fucking evil out there.
That may be, but there's evil within, too.